Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 22nd, 2024 Wiseburg Unified School District Board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. Wendy, do we have any public comments on closed agenda items? All right, seeing no comments, we will now recess the closed session and reconvene at 6:00 p.m. this evening. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 22nd, 2024 Wiseburg Unified School District Board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. We have a relatively short agenda this evening, a special presentation from Maggie Mayberry on the CASP program. You're probably going to have to help me through this. The CASP stands for the California Annual Assessment, Student Performance and Progress on Math and Language Arts, right? All right, so we have that presentation coming before us, and I think we're ready to get started. Looking forward to it. Wendy, would you please take roll call?
Mr. Van Willis,
Present.
Dr. Goldman,
Present.
Ms. Cappy, present, Ms. Legaspi, present, Mr. Martinez.
Present.
Thank you.
And Maggie, I'll let you do lead us in the pledge, please.
Okay, please put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic. I have no items to report from closed session this evening. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Thank you, Michelle. A second. Thank you, Rebecca. All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic. Wendy, any comments from the public on non-agenda items this evening?
No.
All right, no comments? All right, moving on. Get that, we're ready at board member reports. Rebecca, we'll start with you this evening.
So I raised you with a big long report last time.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell
Took
you,
your tissues away.
thank you, it's fine, it's fine. I don't have a big long thing today. I just want to say, congratulations on the ribbon cutting yesterday. I'm sorry I couldn't make it because I was out of town for work, but I heard it was really wonderful. And I'm so grateful to the community for having supported us with Measure EE Bond, so that we could finish that project. Really looking forward to it. I also will be out of town for the WEF parent party, but encourage all of the families to sign up and get their tickets. Those are on sale on the Ed Foundation's website. It's always a good time, 90s theme, get your Peach Pit stuff ready. Yeah, it's Peach Pit After Dark, I think. So those were just the two things that I had to say. And I know the sixth graders went on the Camp Pally field trip over the weekend for the middle school. And so excited that we have those opportunities for our families and for our kids to be able to go and experience the great outdoors together while learning. So that's it.
Rebecca?
Again, I want to pick up where Rebecca mentioned the ribbon cutting was awesome. Thank you so many for attending. It was so fun to see everybody there. It was fun. Thank you, Blake, for your speech opening us up. And then we also had Ray Santiago of Da Vinci speak, and we got to speak. So just a nice connection, a beautiful day. And then to see the kids there, there's a couple hundred people there. So it was pretty exciting to see from all stripes and shapes. And then the students got on and started playing soccer and practicing. It was just super cool to see. So very fun. I want to mention again, we're the first in the state to have this unique field that is used in Europe. So it's proven, but it's really cool. And if you get a chance, you got to step on it. It just feels fantastic. You won't want to leave. You'll take your shoes off and just want to play on it. Super fun. Also want to mention a couple things that I mentioned in the past as we are looking at the charter renewal for Da Vinci, and they had their presentation, how the importance of data can be so valuable. And I'm going to throw in my annual plead for data and a dashboard for us to track how we're doing over time and how beautiful it is to see that over time. So again, my hope that we can move forward on that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was we have put some great work into our foundation, our pillars and our strategy and our mission and our vision. And I've asked about a infographic and the idea of posting that here in the board or in our board packet that reminds us why we're here, what we're here to do to keep us focused. So again, my plea for us to move forward in that direction and keep us continuing to focus great things for our students and our community. That's it. Thank you.
Not to overstate how wonderful yesterday was, but my takeaway really is having a rising eighth grade, a kid in eighth grade coming up to Da Vinci. It was really, really special for me to be able to see him on the field. Because I can see his future. He decided he wanted to run a mile around for fun and see how long it took him. And just that kind of excitement that this kind of project, the completion of this project brings for our entire community is really what made me smile yesterday. So thank you for that opportunity and thank you for letting me touch the big scissors.
Roger.
Thank you, Nelson. I also want to echo some comments here regarding the ribbon cutting for the field. I share a quick story, but I have 4 sons, as most of you know, and all of them went here through Weisburn schools. I've also been an AYSO soccer coach, and to see our district evolve the way it has been is absolutely fantastic. Very proud to be a member of this Weisburn community because if anything we know, Weisburn keeps on fighting for what they want and ultimately achieve it. And obviously it takes a lot of partners to get to that point. When I was coaching AYSO with my boys, I remember of the time about 13 years ago when they're 7 and 8 years old, and we did not have any synthetic field turfs. Our first one was the one over at Del Air, and then well, that field was not in very good shape to begin with. It was actually quite bad. It was terrible. But when we made the playoffs one year, we went to surrounding neighborhoods or other school districts, right? And they have synthetic turf fields. I got to tell you, our kids, unfortunately, were in kind of shock and awe. We almost lost the game as we were arriving because the facilities were so different. In sports, the ball runs differently, the atmosphere is different, the look and feel is different. So to be able to celebrate a ribbon cutting, not only for the synthetic turf over at Del Air Elementary, but now for our high school, unbelievable crowning achievement for our community. And for that, I'll eternally be grateful because it's not just all the students that are going to be able to utilize it now. It's those that came through our schools and weren't able to use it. But any Saturday and Sunday, when you walk out there and you look at the fields, there's all these new generations there. So I say that just to share that the things that we do today isn't necessarily for us or for the people that are there now, but it's also those that are coming behind us. So thank you to the Weisburn community and everybody that contributed to making that field a reality, because it really is a dream field. And thank you everyone who participated. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Well, I think it's been well said by my colleagues. Yesterday was a great day. As many of you know, this week in sports it's probably one of the biggest weeks in the history of Los Angeles, and it was kickstarted by the Da Vinci soccer field. They ran open it. So it's amazing. So I just want to reiterate what everyone said. I'm very thankful to the community and grateful to everybody involved in making this happen. The NAZ team, PBK, Tenkati, and so forth, and just the collaboration that's taking place with Da Vinci and Weisburn. This is wonderful. And I know Roger was with me yesterday. We stayed pretty late. The taco stands closed, but it was just amazing. As we just watched the players play soccer on that field. And now we have a home field court here for our kids, for both boys and girls. So it's great. And that's all I have to say. That's really what it's about. And that's why we serve. So thank you to everybody who made it happen. Blake, I think you're up, or actually I think, is it Maggie?
Give leadership reports.
Okay.
No, I do want to say, no, now it's on. I just want to, thank the team. I know that Maggie's put in quite a bit of time reviewing data, and coming in new in July, it's tough. You're you're kind of trying to paint the picture with data that you have. But, what I've really appreciated is she's gone out, she's talked to so many people throughout this process. So just sort of the investigative side of it is kind of understanding the story, because there's a story behind, behind data and behind the progress. And I also want to say that part of the process, when we look at the data, we're also looking at in relationship to like resources that we've put into some of these programs. We know that math has been a big big point for us, big emphasis for us. And, I think we see it pay off. So I'm excited to welcome Maggie to the stage or the mic or whatever and share. Thank you.
Welcome, Maggie. The slides were great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You got the timer there, Wendy, 5 minutes? That's good. That's good.
Is the pressure on? I'm a fast talker, so I can take this role if you'd like. But there will be some time like in between the presentation for questions, so please feel free to cut in. But we're very excited, just like all of you said, about all the great things that are happening. Now we get to hear those like impacted with the great work that our teachers, our administrators, and our students have done in community to support our growth, in the CASP as well as our STAR assessment data as well. So we're really focusing in on 3 of the 5 priorities, numbers 1, 2, and 3 today on ELA performance, math performance, and then also science with our CAST is going to be included. And it's kind of an exciting time for science as a former science teacher, because CAST will actually be on our California dashboard in December pretty quickly as one of the indicators to see how we're growing and progressing. And we've got some great data to report. Tonight, we'll be talking about those results that were just released a little less than 2 weeks ago to the public, as well as connecting them to our priorities. I think, Dr. Goldman, you're going to be excited with how we've done this, as well as, talking about context with what these actual results mean and relating it to our LCAP. So each and every year, we actually have our summative annual assessment, our CASP that comes in. It's kind of the thing at the end of the year that we drive all of our instruction. And I always say this is the one that's printed in the paper that people look at. That's the one, the indicator that our dashboard is showing our progress as a staff as well as our students. So that is our summative assessments that we're going to be talking about today. We also are going to highlight our quarterly assessments. 4 times a year, all of our students take the STAR assessment data to show our benchmarks, how we're progressing throughout the school year, as well as the progress monitoring that our teachers are doing. And they do this in a variety of different ways. Maybe on a summative assessment at the end of the unit, with our new Eureka program, it's many of the quizzes that are being put into place. Any of the writing pieces that are done at the end of a unit, as well as in reading as well. And then finally, what I feel is our most important data, that CFA data that we call it in school land, our common formative assessments, which drive our day-to-day. Like, what did we learn today about our students that we're going to change tomorrow to ensure that all students are achieving at the highest levels? So our STAR assessment data we're going to begin with the end of last year and talk about how it correlates with the CASP data. And we're going to actually have a little bit of a preview of where we're at for this school year. So this is a comprehensive assessment that's done in both English, language arts, reading, as well as in mathematics. This is really giving our teachers insight for where our students are at. It adapts along the way for our students while they're taking it. It's changing based on answers that they've answered previously. It's closely aligned with our state standards, as well as gives us a pretty good estimate of where our students are going to be at the end of the year with CASP. It very heavily aligns together. At the end of last year, 3 out of our 5 Wiseburn students performed at 60% at or above grade level in English language arts. Double click, Tony. Here it is. Okay, and in mathematics, 44%. You're going to see we have a little bit less data in STAR and math, and that's because it didn't come into play here in Wiseburn until the pandemic, when we were kind of needed to do something due to the lack of CASP results that were given. And let's talk about, I would say, the grandfather of them all, the CASP assessment, that annual end of the year thing that we all do. And this is a great assessment for our families to know where their students are at in the entire state. It's a comparison amongst all districts, all students at that grade level. as well as provides us insights to help write our LCAPs, our SIPSAs, our goals and values for the next school years and what we're going to continue to progress in, as well as give our students kind of where they're at in their college and career readiness. And finally, it's what we present, and it's what's going to show up on our indicators on the California dashboard. Sorry, I'm getting behind on the clicks. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's,
Hey, Queen, can I,
Yes.
can you go back to
Sure.
slide, sorry, I had it here, slide 9. I think it skipped right past it when you were, oh, it's missing on here.
yeah, I I reworked them a little bit.
Alright,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, it's
sorry.
it'll come.
I'm actually trying to
Yes.
follow along.
I know, I apologize. I made a few last minute adjustments after practicing. Now I gotta hit all the buttons. One click. Okay, so in CASP, in both English language arts and in mathematics, our 3rd through 8th grade students take this assessment each and every school year. And then in high school in 11th grade. CAST is a little bit different, the science assessment. They're gonna take it both in 5th grade, in 8th grade, and then one time in high school. And this is something that high schools are really starting to talk about because it's where are you gonna place this assessment now that it's showing up on, it's more of a higher stakes, assessment that's being given out. Unfortunately, this is only the 5th year that we've done this, and due to the pandemic, we don't have like longitudinal data with CAST over time for how our students have performed, like cohorts of students. But it's something that will come with time.
Romantic setting.
I know.
Lights went down.
Tony, I think the clicker is. Okay, and of course it's California and we love our colors and we're gonna change them up this school year. So we're moving away from the red and the blues and we're moving to the greens. And so our levels 2, 3, and 4 are gonna be indicated through the green color. And those are our students that are performing at or above grade level. And then our level 1, our inconsistents, are gonna be yellow that show our increase. Ooh. Hey, what happened? Go ahead. Yes, does not meet. Yeah, because our 2, 3, and 4 is going to be at or above grade level. Okay, I'm gonna try to click here. Okay, so our CASP data for last school year, as you can see, Weisbron Unified, 60% of our students scored at or above grade level on the STAR assessment, with 62% performing at or above grade level in the CASP. So it's a really good correlation between the two assessments. And you can see we've outperformed the state pretty significantly. Perfect. Now in our STAR data for the end of the school year, we were at 44% at or above grade level, but we performed at 50% grade level, at or above grade level for our mathematics assessment, outperforming the state pretty significantly again at 36%. And then science, 47% at grade level or proficient or above, and 31% for the state. So we're clearly outperforming the average of the state. Now, most importantly, is looking at our actual individual schools and using this data to drive our decision making. So as you can see, our green highlighted boxes here are all the improvements that were made from 2022-23 to 23 and 24. I have to give a big shout out to Aviation and Del Air. You can see the huge increases in mathematics in both of those teams. I mean, the dedication of our teachers, our coaches, their willingness to try new materials. I mean, the adoption of Eureka is shining through in our students' progress. And then Del Air as well, a pretty big increase in literacy. And then aviation with math or with science, excuse me. So our elementary schools have done a really great job with in helping with the district improvement. And then our cohort data from year to year, how do our students move when they're in 3rd grade, from that to fourth grade. And you could see in almost every cohort, minus a few, there was growth happening, which is a great thing to see. And as noted before, we can't show a big growth with that science CAS data because it's a totally different group of people, of students. And then I'd like to present to you and break it down by our subgroups of students. And so just like the California dashboard, you can see our 8 subgroups of students and the green showing the improvements that they've made. I'd really like to highlight the 3 at the bottom, because if we continue to make these improvements with our subgroups of students, with our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, our students with disabilities, and our English learners, you're going to see in math, they all improved as a subgroup. That is going to indicate on the dashboard that will show an increase in that due to those groups making a climb in a positive direction. As well as our students with disabilities in science. Those hands-on opportunities mean a lot, and we're accessing them, in our various classrooms. And then just another format of how to see our different subgroups. So our green are all our subgroups that improved and kind of where they align on the spectrum, with English being on the left, mathematics in the middle, and science at the end. Our students in the black color are that stayed stable. There was no improvement, no up or down. And then our subgroups in the red are groups that actually decreased from 2022-23 to 23-24. And so we're looking at our students in the lens of what are we doing this year with our students and how are we going to improve? And so many of the interventions that we have in place are going to be working on this decreased population. But overall, the green wins. And just some shout outs district-wide. Our mathematics performance increased significantly at the elementary level. That's a huge shout out. Aviation, both in math and science. Del Air in reading and mathematics. When you're starting to look at our subgroups of students, our 6th grade students of 2 or more races had an increase in reading. Our 3rd grade African-American students and our English learners in mathematics performed much higher than the past. Our 4th grade Asian students and our economically disadvantaged in both reading and English, and mathematics. And then our final highlight is our 5th graders with students with disabilities in both math and science had a great increase. And those are celebrations that we can't wait. We've kind of held this fight with our staff. We're like, wait, we wanted to show you first. And so we cannot wait to get out there and celebrate with them. But this is a really interesting point that I'd like to share. And this is what you walked in on, President Martinez. So what we often make comparisons with our local neighbors. We're going to look at everyone around us that we kind of share our property lines with, but really in reality, it's who do we compare to? There's over 1,000 districts in California who are ones that closely align with our English learner population, our socioeconomically disadvantaged, our just population in total. And as a unified school district, we actually align very closely with 21 other districts. And within those 21, we are 2nd in English language arts, as well as math and the CASP. Now, Tony, if you can click on the link, the only district that's outperforming us in those was a little bit of a surprise to me. Would be in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills Unified School District. So that's a pretty great celebration. And we all know that's a great celebration.
I think to point to it, it's important to note, I mean, sometimes we either probably get compared to districts that don't share our demographics and so forth. So I just think it's important. This is a really important slide, really important spreadsheet, I guess, for us to look at and really judge our progress.
And not just that, let's start calling them and talking. If we have similar groups, like we can start sharing and collaborating together on practices that they're doing and challenges that they're facing. So I look forward to those conversations. And then the next one, excuse me, quick, go back, was the 15 elementary districts that we compare to. And as you can see, we are second in English language arts and third in mathematics. And if you want to click on the link here with these districts, we only have one kind of close by neighbor, and that would be Huntington Beach City School District. And so we've outperformed all of our likes except in one area that outperformed us in mathematics. I believe that was somewhere in Kern County.
What are the similar factors that are being compared to? Is it enrollment, special education percentage, low income, English learners as well?
And then our unduplicated count. Yeah, our unduplicated students. And doing a comparison with both of the CASP scores.
Those are very close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see who they are and who we really statistically should be talking to, you know, to highlight. So what are these? Oh, go ahead.
Just all being quiet here.
I don't go.
Thank you.
No, hey, Daniel, I will take it. Thanks. No.
Worthy of.
No, I'm just new to the team. I mean, this is like, this is our teachers, this is our students, this is our community, and like their dedication to what we're doing. I mean, they're the ones that deserve the round of
Thank you.
applause.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're doing great work, and I'm out there every day visiting, and it's tremendous to see. It's the best part of our days.
Investment in those, the folks like Holly and.
Yeah, and our new Miss Navarro, I mean, we're showing how it's affecting our practices and our students directly. What a great thing, and we're gonna actually highlight that pretty soon.
When Joanne Michael was here doing the science stuff, that was
Right.
also key for that group.
Right, absolutely. I'm clicking, do you want to kick over? Okay, so some big takeaways from this is our students are outperforming, as mentioned earlier, California as a whole. You know, just like many other districts, we took a dive during the pandemic and we're all kind of working together to see where we're at, but we are on an upwards climb up, and I only imagine us going farther with what's happening in our district. And then Weisburn Middle School is traditionally outperformed and is continuing to a little bit, but our elementary schools really did such a huge increase this year in math and a little bit in literacy. And with, you know, all the new literacy initiatives coming our way at the state, I only imagine that we're going to continue that upward growth in that area. And so although we were slightly decreased in ELA and science performance, math remained pretty unchanged. So as far as our three priorities, we have many bright spots to celebrate. Our different grade levels, our different age groups, I mean, our various subgroups are performing really, really well. Oops, I'm gonna go back one. And now where are we at today? And so as our beginning of the year STAR data comes out, we're at a 64% rate at or above grade level in English language arts and reading, and 52% in math. And this is another celebration because as you can see at the end of the year for STAR, we can see such an increase as well as CASP. And so because these are so highly correlated, I can only imagine what this presentation is going to look like next year. And then, of course, we always want to tie it back to our LCAP, as those are our goals and our priorities and all of our actions that are in place based on these data points. And these data points are kids. And so what are we doing for our students to help? I mean, our multi-tiered systems of support in reading and math is great. It's there and it's a high priority within the LCAP. Our TCT, or our teacher collaboration time, and our dedication to professional learning communities, our new math programs with Eureka, the connection with ST Math, and who knows what might come down the path with the new framework finally being finalized in the middle school levels. The extended school year programs and our summer supports that were provided to many of our students. Our additional math support personnel with both Ms. Compton and Ms. Navarro being added to the team, and their hard work and dedication that work alongside such a collaborative staff. Our professional development for the teachers. I mean, how many teachers were willing to come in the summertime to learn about the new math program? I mean, as a new member of this community, that was amazing to see. And then just our continued commitment to the professional learning communities, and then an outside help for some middle school math supports. And there we are. That sums up 22-23 or 23-24. Here we go with 24-25. So we'll continue to talk about this data and give regular reports, especially as we're getting ready with STAR data. And then as well as the dashboard coming out around, gosh, it's going to be mid-December this year, and we're going to blink and it's going to be there. So we'll get to see some of this great work highlighted in very fun colors, positive colors. But are there any questions?
This is comments.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
Phenomenal. Exciting.
Great. Oh,
Love-
awesome.
Love the presentation.
Yeah.
The data was beautifully presented, lovely to see, very accessible.
Right.
Love the cohorts, love each grade. Thank you very
Great.
much.
And any feedback you have, please
I
do.
like the idea of celebrating successes. I think
Right.
one of the concerns when we got into the whole philosophical construct of PLCs
Mm-hmm.
and data was that the data would be used in a punitive way.
No.
And I
right.
like the fact that we are not doing that. It was never the intent.
Right.
We're using it in a celebratory way, a learning way, and a growth way. And that's what it should be used for.
Right.
And great to see that. My question is, and candidly, I don't even know if this is appropriate. It is
Yeah.
in the corporate world, but I don't know about here. Should we have goals? And do we have goals to move from 52% on the STAR to 54% or 55%? Is that something we're doing? I don't know.
We do actually, the principals in our first administrative PLC is each of our school sites wrote SMART goals based on this data. And so we had early access to it that was still embargo that we happened to share. And then we actually shared and wrote goals to achieve.
And love the
that.
tracking. As you said, I was gonna
And-
like this, A+.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question?
I just have one question
Yes.
about the decline in the science scores.
Yes.
I did notice that across, it was two of the school sites at least had science scores that declined. And I'm curious if that's something, I know we adopted new curriculum a couple of years ago. We had a science TOSA and we no longer do. Do you think that either of those things are impacting those scores, or do you have any insight about why the decline on science in particular?
I mean, I'm a big believer in coaches. I think, right, and anything that you do in life. I'm not familiar with the impact that she had, to be honest, our last one, but it's definitely a talking point, especially as this data rolls out and what supports are needed in science for our elementary to our middle school students. So I can, hopefully, as I'm here a little bit longer, get some more information to share with you. Thank you.
Overall, as a district, that was the one area where we did.
I guess my piggyback question with that is that the data that is presented here is just solely off the cast, which really is
Right.
only fifth grade and
Eighth grade, right.
It's really hard to
Yeah.
compare those numbers. So my question is, what will our data be to track that on a more regular basis with cohorts available? Because it is really difficult
Right.
to track that when they're only taking them like every 3 years.
Right, right. And so, I mean, we're gonna still have to wait 3 years to see how last year's fifth graders went, to see how they progressed on the cast. But I mean, our departments at the middle school are constantly doing like common summative assessments. Like that's a conversation to drive their instructional practices in class. And so they are having that conversation amongst themselves to ensure that that's reflected when students do take the cast data.
And which
Take the
students are-
assessment, excuse me.
Which grades are using the STAR, are taking the STAR test?
In science,
No, I'm just
Oh.
across the board.
across the board.
Doing this from all grades?
If we're doing it in second grade and above, at the 4 times a year, kindergarten and first grade kind of enter in mid-year points.
And the STAR is math and ELA.
Math, yeah, reading specifically, yeah, literacy and mathematics. Yes.
Maggie, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you for. the
Oh, thank you.
wonderful presentation.
Yeah.
This is not an easy subject matter. to
No, it
present.
isn't,
And
right?
you did a wonderful.
Oh,
job.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
A big thank you. Thank you to you and your leadership.
Yep.
And also a
best
thank
team.
you to obviously all the teachers and staff.
Right,
In having this, doing this wonderful work, and
Yeah.
it's obviously.
Shows,
right? So
yeah.
Thank you to the entire team.
thank you.
Wonderful job.
I agree.
Blake, anything else?
Not about that.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you, sorry, Nelson, you waiting for me?
Yeah, Maggie was the first. I don't know if there was
Fair enough.
other.
I'm gonna turn it over. So Sean, I know you had a quick update.
Yes, quick update. We sent out notification to all of our kind of super user groups for our facility use. So we're working on scheduling our first recreation meeting for the new school year. And we cover, which is kind of new this year, the use of Facilitron for all the facility use rentals, kind of our general policies, procedures and practices. Just kind of other important updates about construction that's going on and how that's going to kind of impact the facility use as well. So that will be happening. Looks like probably early, kind of mid-November is when we're going to be able to get everybody together. for that one.
And our representatives are the two of the Rebecca.
Comments is, talking about the recreation committee or just, use of our fields in general. Our fields are a huge community asset and I love it. I mean, I live right next to, Wiseman Middle School. So I see a lot of the impact with regards to traffic and parking. That's actually not a concern to me, but, I bought my home right next to a school. I already knew the school was there. So it is what it is. But my comment is, as we move forward, I would like for our leagues and the people that do use the fields to be very mindful when it's being used over the weekend on Saturdays and Sundays, that there's classes that are gonna be taught on Monday. And sometimes when they go out there on Monday mornings, I would see their Weisbrink custodians having to pick up a lot of trash. And it does impact the PE, and especially for those that have physical education on first period. So I'd like for that to be discussed at the recreation committee or our leagues and in general, anyone who's using our fields to be mindful and respectful when they use those fields, because there's someone coming in after them. And the last couple of weekends, I should say, the fields have not looked good. And we take great pride in the way our fields look, but I would like that just to be stressed in terms of the importance of the cleanliness, if that can be discussed, because it does have an impact the next day. Or at Monday, first thing in the morning for students.
Yeah, and more to your point, kind of internally, we have been talking about the facility use and kind of the tie-in of custodial fees and looking at utilizing the custodial fee for things that you might not think of originally, like field use, because having somebody on site that is kind of your district representative and monitoring and just kind of helping facilitate that process, even when it's a field use is going to go a long way for us. And I've already heard about those kind of Monday mornings. And
Is it appropriate, inappropriate for us to bill back to our leagues, our custodial time for their remnants?
Yeah, I think, sorry, Sean, I know we've talked a little bit, but just part of the conversation that we started having with the leagues last year was not only a custodial fee, but also a per pupil or per athlete fee. And that's pretty consistent with cities. It's actually, it's more often that cities are renting their parks for AYSO. We just happen to be in this sort of, some schools do as well, of course, but we end up in, in this situation where we actually house our entire AYSO program and our entire Little League softball program and so forth, and they're all year long. So the impact on our fields is greater. The wear and tear on our fields is greater, and the expense for replacing our field, especially as we start adding turf and things like that, is greater. So we have talked about some options. Haven't really finalized. This is something that me and Sean are going to have to look through and look at. But those conversations have started with the community group, so it's not going to come as a surprise. We may have to look at some phasing in. Again, we're not fully ready to roll out the policy per se, but it's definitely been a topic of conversation that we want to bring up at the rec committee meeting.
And to that point, if there's no consequences for undesired action, there's no action.
Yeah.
But if there's a consequence for undesired action, there may be action.
Yeah, good point. Sure.
And Roger and I happen to be together when we witnessed some of this, so I appreciate you bringing up the comments, and I think that, I definitely want to be considerate of the custodians and actually the entire school site and the kids, so we do have to share with this user group that we are extremely expensive. That's the concept. That is the concept, because otherwise we're just placing more work on our custodians, and that's not fair either. So we do have to have that conversation, because I think we have to make it where they are going to take that responsibility, or otherwise it's going to be very expensive. Yeah. And so we got to figure that out. And I think it's amazing how things will change when we say how expensive it is, right? So.
Yeah, especially given all the investment that we're putting into our facilities in general, and kind of more to your point, yeah, when it gets expensive, I mean, in essence, you know, that money is, you're taking dollars out of the classroom, and so I think kind of making that connection with the community groups as well, that, hey, you know, we're in the business of educating our kids first and foremost. And just kind of creating that nexus, which I'm sure they already clearly are pretty cognizant of.
Okay. Mike?
Just a reminder that tomorrow at 5 o'clock is our parent caregiver safety night, where we'll be talking about school safety protocols and strategies for talking to kids about school safety. So we'll be joined by district leadership, Police Chief Tomatani, and a clinical psychologist, Lauren Ford.
Aviation?
Aviation.
Can we record these? All these various programs we're doing?
Not yet. Not yet. We just don't have the capacity yet, to be frank. In the future, yeah, we could. I think once the new network is up and we actually have, we just don't have the
You got that?
equipment or the
Tony? You
capacity.
got that, Tony?
You know, and we do encourage, I think part of it too is coming out and seeing it. So I mean, part of it to me, I mean, philosophically, I think we also want to be, I mean, we just literally don't have the capacity right now to do it, but I also think philosophically, we'd want to have a conversation about that. And it's really important for people to come out and see the chief and be able to ask questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was more not in lieu of, it's
Yeah.
in those who can't attend, who
Yeah.
might be interested.
Yeah.
To still learn.
Right.
Get there. We'll get there.
Okay. Just a couple items. Nelson, I guess it's on to me now. A couple items I wanted to,
Nisha?
no, Nisha, no. No, Nisha. Wanted to share, I wanted to share the safety night. So that's something that we're looking forward to, tomorrow. It's sort of in 3 parts. We will have the chief that will be there. I'll be sharing our Alice protocol. I'll be able to answer some questions related to that. And then obviously we'll have the psychologist there. And you know, one of the challenges, and I've shared this at the board meeting and at board meetings in the past, I just have to say, I don't think it's something that we've come up with a real solution to, is how to bring active shooter, violent intruder incidents, critical incidents of that nature to students. And we talk about lockdowns and so forth, and it does happen, but I just don't think it's systemic yet. And it's something that we need to look at, or, you know, we want to make sure that what we're sharing is appropriate, age appropriate. You know, I do get emails from parents, on both sides of that, you know, parents that really want the training, and parents that really don't. And so I think it's something that we're navigating. So I just have to say, I know that's going to be a question that's going to come up tomorrow, and unfortunately, it's just something we're not fully, ready to answer. But we'll get there. And so part of this conversation, though, is so that we better understand some of the concerns so that we can then map out a pathway forward, and be able to talk to our partners at Alice, be able to talk to the police department, local police, so that we can really try and figure out that plan moving forward, on how to do that. So that was that. So I wanted to share that. Also wanted to share that, you know, Neil, I know you had mentioned data dashboard. I think, you know, it is something that we've talked about, Maggie and I have talked about. We are meeting very soon. So coming up November 18th, 20th, something like that, we're going to be meeting with a gentleman. I think I'd shared that even with you on a phone call. We're going to look at this data, and we're still trying.
I know it's
Ting
not without effort, I know.
And we're trying again. So hopefully that as we come back, we'll be able to provide somewhat of a scorecard / dashboard, something that shows some live results.
Something beyond the California dashboard.
That's correct. Yes. And we may have to call it something else, a metric reader. I don't know. We'll figure something out. And then I also wanted to comment too on the infographic. We actually are working on that as well. We just had a meeting, Erica. I shouldn't say we, I didn't. Erica had a meeting with Lisa LaRock, who actually helped design our logos, and she has some of that necessary information. I know Maggie helped and supported going through some photos, because we do want to decorate the boardroom with photos as well as the priorities. So we have identified some important photos, some good photos that really just feel like this is a good room to have them, pictures of kids and things.
It's kind of barren.
It's very barren. So anyway, so we're doing that, but so it is actually in the works, and you know, it's sort of a long time coming. We did get sidetracked a bit, but we're back at it.
Thank you.
Sure. Also had a chance on Saturday to walk, or Sunday, I guess it was Sunday, to walk the Del Air Field. Because we are at a point where we're gonna need to look at replacement. Obviously, there's no action items today on that. I'm just sharing now that we are having to start looking at that. There's some areas that may get us another year, but planning for it takes a year, right? I mean, we have to plan for it and plan for what's gonna go there. Certainly want to look at the pivot product that we saw over here at the middle, or I'm sorry, the high school, so that we can pull that carpet up. There is a bit of an addition with some of the shock pads or some of the padding that goes underneath it. We'd have to add, but want to look at that as well. So did have a chance to walk that. It's kind of at its end of life. And is it still working? Sure, it's still going to be fine. But the longer it goes, and just for the longer it goes, the more chance of injury there is or there are. So we want to make sure that we address it, and we're still good, but we're the clock is ticking. Yeah, the clock is ticking backwards. But it was definitely good. Also had an opportunity to this week, I've been visiting school sites, spending some time with teachers, signups, had a chance to visit the middle school yesterday, had a chance to visit Holly Glen today. I'm going to aviation tomorrow and going to, I guess the other, so what did I miss? Aviation and then Del Air, sorry, on Thursday. And, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to teachers. I appreciate their willingness to come and talk to me. I think there's lots of things that you learn from these meetings. Some you can fix, some you can't. And I think that's sort of just the way it is, but the conversation's always good. And I just appreciate the positivity. There's a lot of folks come in with, real good things first, and then we talk about some challenge areas. And I think those are just really, really fruitful conversations that we can bring back to the team and try and get some support, pull some nuggets out of it to help support the process of continuous improvement. So I just enjoy that. I enjoy those days. I enjoy being on campuses. I love the energy. I love seeing the kids. I mean, honestly, like it's really nice when I get to step out of the office and see the kids. Cabrillo, Holly Glen, sorry. Kids are so cute, and just seeing them, they really are. They're just so adorable. One kid told me today, I asked him what he was drawing. He said, Nunya. Yeah, he did. And I was like, I know what you're saying, buddy. Yeah, I'm not going there, but it was hilarious. I mean, it's just really, really funny. Really nice opportunity to hang out a little bit. Anyway, wanted to share that, and that's all I have today.
Thank you, Blake. Thank you. All right. Wendy, do we have any comment from the public on agenda items? No comments. All right. We're gonna go to consent items. Do I have a motion for 8.1 through 10.1?
A motion?
I'll second. Motion in a second.
Comment?
Is that-
Like a little more detail on 8.3.
8.3?
Yeah, it's a new format, so I thought maybe Sean could help us out a little bit.
It is a new format. So our buyer is a little new. She's, I think, a little less than 2 months in. So we were kind of going back and forth with kind of trying to just kind of present like the most kind of clear and concise information that we can kind of pull from our financial system. So there are a couple of different options. And so we put this one out there. It has the PO number, the document description, vendor. We kind of added the funding source, so it's a little clearer there. And then we have the county distribution on there to kind of, if there are questions that come up within the board meeting or in the public, makes it a little bit easier for me to speak to. I mean, obviously I make my notes if you have any questions about the purchase orders, but I always like including the accounting distribution because it's that 30-digit account string. It's a lot, but it really, each piece of it tells a story, so what fund it's coming from, what funding source, kind of the intent of what it is, the object code. It explains exactly kind of what the nature of the expense is. And then the last number on that account string is the location code. So this just kind of lets you know kind of what we're working with on the accounting side and how we can kind of better track different expenditures from just various funding sources, how we're tracking them by site location, district office location, department. So this is kind of something that we're kind of looking to fine tune within the business department is just really kind of dialing in our accounting distribution so that things are a lot more uniform and clear when you do see the purchase orders coming across the board for your approval. So that was kind of the intent here. Obviously, if you have any questions or comments or
Comment after all the questions.
Just, I'm assuming the 15 plus was the, said that's the Cisco program. I assumed, I just couldn't.
15 million.
Yeah.
yes, that's for the, yeah, exactly, for the network infrastructure, that's for that entire amount, the 15.574, correct?
Including this beautiful screen.
With the silver screen.
And the microphones and et cetera, et cetera. Thank you. That I wanted just clarification. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I do want to share, there's also mics in the ceiling that are brand new, see the green, those are all new as well as some of the speakers. So, those folks aren't having to get up and go, I know we said they didn't anyway, I guess, and they were doing it, but they're actually our microphones. Right. So everything's being captured.
Sean, question just for clarification, this PO report, these are for items that the board has already approved prior at a board meeting for an action item. This is just a record that the actual contract has been entered into and a PO has been issued. Is that correct?
Exactly. If it is contract specific, yes, it has been previously board approved.
Okay.
That is correct, absolutely.
Thank you.
What do you think? I think we can call this the PO dashboard. We are done.
I do want to add to the one thing, we are looking at the PO report. I know we've talked a little bit. Sean has some suggestions on maybe how we improve just business flow and workflow from the district business to the board as it relates to POs. So this may change. This may be an iterative process as we go through that and try and look at some thresholds for district approval versus things that have to come directly to the board, what shows up in a PO report versus, what's an actual agenda item. And I know I've talked to a couple of more about that anyway, but so this probably will be iterative.
Exactly, yeah, it's kind of a work in progress, but yeah, to Blake's point, we're trying to find that perfect balance of board approval and then also kind of routine business items that, are already included in the budget and are things that, are a little more time sensitive and just kind of, the regular nature of doing business as the district. So we're just trying to really kind of strike that balance.
Yeah, that's excellent. And this is very detailed, so it's good. So I had a motion and a who's the motion from? Roger. And a second from Rebecca. And Blake, you heard 8.1 through 10.1, right? All in favor? 8.1 through 8.5, let me clarify. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Facilities, see here, let's take this, go ahead and take the first one, 9.1.
So moved.
Thank you, Neil. Second,
Second.
thank you, Michelle. Any comments or questions before the vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
9.2, this is amendment number 5 to Delaware Elementary School. This is, I believe, just the core, this is just the fees.
Yes.
Reimbursement for DSA fees, yeah. Do I have a motion?
A motion with a question.
Thank you, Neil. In a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Roger. Neil?
I was a little confused with the attachments. I see that it's an additional $4,000 plus. But then and just for Del Air, and then I see all the other areas and I didn't understand I got lost in the references.
So there's two attachments. One is for Del Air, TK, and then the other one was for the Holly Glen Playground Project for $1,800. So this approval, as you can see from the recommended action, is for $4,271 for plus the 18. I can't really see from here. I'm sorry, 1,800.
But it's just, the recommended action only speaks to Del Air. That's why I got.
I think in the title, it was the Holly Glen was left out.
And the detail, Holly Glen was left out. So it just looks like Del Air.
No,
It's there. Contract amendment number 5.
It's just the title. The title. It's left out the title.
The title references Del Air because that's the way the original contract was taken.
Mhm.
But it does show both sides on here.
The other project, that's why.
Correct.
terribly material, just I didn't understand.
And unfortunately, we completely ran out of time. The county kept saying that the check was coming, the check was coming. And literally the day, we were up to the day it was due and the check did not come. So we had to ask Corgan to pay the fees. They were able to just pay with a credit card. They paid the fees and of course the check arrived the next day. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's appreciated though that they did that as well. I know.
Well, they're small amounts, so they can do that, but for some reason, the county's taking a little longer processing checks. And some of these are time sensitive. If for some reason we can't get the payment to DSA by the time we have it scheduled, then we have to wait an additional 6 weeks. So.
Any other comments, or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Fiscal approved consultants agreement with SLEA Therapies. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Rebecca. Do I have a second? Michelle, any comments or questions?
Just one question, is this a case that we've previously discussed? No. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Upcoming dates and events, we have Spectacular coming up this Friday at 5 o'clock. Little competition with World Series game number 1. Pupil Free Day, Friday, November 1st. And then we got Veterans Day already coming up, and our next board meeting, November 21st, right, Blake? And then obviously Thanksgiving. Any other dates?
No, I mean, obviously, safety night, we already talked about that. So
Yeah.
other than that, I think this is pretty substantive.
All right.
Already isn't on here.
Okay.
All right.
16th?
The 16th, sorry, November 16th.
Right, that's Saturday. For our schools.
All right, is it? All right, do I have a motion and a second to adjourn at 7:01 PM?
So moved.
So moved. All right, fantastic. That concludes it, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.